Hey everybody, huge MultiVersus bombshell just dropped on Twitter from the game's director, Tony Huynh. Tony wrote, there's a surprise and a look at some future unannounced characters in the login screen tomorrow. More announcements and details coming. Hashtag MultiVersus. Tony then went on to say characters will be arriving sometime during Season 1. So tomorrow, August 15th, is the start of Season 1 for MultiVersus. Apparently we will be getting a new login screen for Season 1, and on that screen, according to Tony, there will be new unannounced characters revealed. So right now we only know about Morty coming on August 23rd, and Rick showing up at some point afterwards during Season 1. We knew Season 1 would have more characters than just Rick and Morty, but now we know the login screen when Season 1 starts will reveal some of them, or who at least some of the other Season 1 releasing characters will be. And apparently there's going to be multiple from what Tony's saying. So not only does this confirm a new login artwork for Season 1 tomorrow, but when Season 1 drops, we'll get immediate character reveals. Still no word on the exact launch time for Season 1, though I suspect MultiVersus Twitter or Tony will let us know very soon. So keep an eye on the MultiVersus Twitter and Tony's Twitter account for the exact timing. They'll probably post that soon, potentially tonight or at some point very early tomorrow. Once I know when Season 1 is dropping for sure, the exact timing, this login screen will get revealed to us. I'll definitely stream that as it's basically a reaction video to new unrevealed characters. Actually, I'm going to still be streaming some open beta preseason battle pass stuff tonight, as I'm still working my way to earning Pajama Finn. Very close, I'm on tier 15, just gotta clinch it tonight. Anyway, now that we know new character reveals are imminent, let's speculate about who we might be seeing on this new login screen. I made a video a couple days ago going over speculation for who might be next after Morty and Rick, so I won't repeat all of that here, but since some new information has come out, we might be able to narrow down a bit more who might actually show up on this login screen now. Of course, before I dive into all that, 2 warnings. Number 1, I've had WB force me to edit a past speculation video and cut out some parts talking about supposed, rumored data mine info for MultiVersus, even though I showed no actual data mine info and there's no proof in any of my videos of anything. So just to be clear, if I talk about any data mine stuff, they are rumored data mines. I don't do any data mining stuff myself, so they are just rumors floating around the internet that I'm talking about. And these videos are just for fun speculation. Nothing is certain, nothing is for sure. And warning number 2, even with that said about the data mines being just rumors, if the stuff we talk about in these videos just so happens to come true, well, here's your spoiler warning now. Okay, so with all that said, let's dive into character speculation. So here's our potentially data mined and leaked character lineup, the rumored ones. So I'd wager that most likely whichever character we are going to see tomorrow on that login screen, or characters we're going to see rather, they're probably on this list somewhere. However, this is a huge pool of fighters, so are we able to narrow anything down? Well, in my last MultiVersus speculation video, I went over a lot of potential characters that could show up after Rick and Morty. But if I had to bet on just one of them, I'd say the character that I think had the most evidence going for them in their favor to show up sometime soon was Marvin the Martian. He's actually listed before Rick and Morty on the supposedly data mined C0 list of fighters that I talked about in that video. He also supposedly had a lot of work done for him already, according to what could be seen in the data mines. He fits a sort of sci-fi space theme that we kind of have going on so far with this first batch of new characters. Iron Giant, LeBron James from Space Jam, and Rick and Morty. If the fighters are being revealed in waves that have themes to them, Marvin fits really well for this space theme. Marvin's ship was also spotted in the background of the CGI character trailer by some eagle-eyed MultiVersus fans. And the list of stage music in the supposed data mines includes a Space Jam stage. Now that of course could be for LeBron James, who we already have, but Marvin could also fit well showing up alongside a Space Jam stage. So my guess is, out of this very large pool of rumored to be data mined and leaked fighters, Marvin seems to have the most going for them, suggesting they could show up soon. Now Tony's tweet actually says future unannounced characters, plural, when talking about the characters we're going to see tomorrow on the login screen, so that sounds to me like we're going to get more than one fighter revealed tomorrow. And we got some new info from Tony yesterday that could help us narrow down who exactly that might be. Yesterday, August 13th, Tony wrote on Twitter, "Who likes bows and arrows?" So that tweet really seemed like a hint at a bow and arrow wielding fighter showing up soon. While I do think Marvin has a good shot of showing up on the login screen tomorrow, whoever this bow and arrow tweet was actually referring to, potentially an archery themed fighter, I doubt it's for Marvin. He doesn't use a bow and arrow in anything I'm aware of anyway. But looking at this big list of fighters, we do have a couple of characters who could fit the bill for that. But before we talk about those characters, let's talk about Rick and Morty, as maybe it's possible there's an off chance whoever this mysterious archer character Tony was talking about here, the reference to using a bow and arrow, it could just actually be referring to one of them using a bow and arrow for some reason. Odd choice for a Rick or Morty moveset, but let's take a look at the characters and see if potentially they could use a bow and arrow. Rick, of course, is all about science and doesn't really use archaic things like bows and arrows, generally anyway. However, he does have this super sci-fi secret arm gun thing, which actually ends up just shooting a little plunger arrow on a string. This is sort of a bow and arrow. Well, it's not really a bow, but there's a bit of the concept of bow and arrow here. The plunger is sort of an arrow. Maybe Tony was referring to this being in Rick's moveset, and the whole tweet was meant as like a joke to get us wildly speculating off base. But I doubt it. So Rick likely isn't the bow and arrow character Tony could be referring to here. Morty is actually our next fighter that launches on August 23rd, and Tony has mentioned some things on Twitter about Morty already. For instance, we know Morty is an expert character, and Tony hinted that Morty likes orange juice and the plumbus, assuming orange juice and the plumbus are involved in Morty's character and MultiVersus in some way. But as far as I'm aware, Morty doesn't have any history using a bow and arrow at all from the Rick and Morty show. Summer, Morty's sister, does use a bow and arrow pretty prominently in one episode. Maybe Morty can summon Summer in his moveset, but that's just an assumption. Summon, Summer, assumption. It's a lot of sums. Anyway, I doubt Summer is coming to the game along with Rick and Morty. Maybe later on she could happen, as she definitely has a lot of stuff to make a pretty cool moveset with, but probably not anytime soon if I had to guess. And I don't think they just have her be a part of Morty's moveset either. I think they'd save her as her own character if they ever do Summer. Doo-doo. Summon, Summer. I'm saying doo-doo. Whatever, I'm making this video quick. Alright, so it probably isn't about Rick or Morty. But there is a character that would fit really well in MultiVersus that immediately comes to mind when we're talking about bows and arrows and archery stuff. That character is Green Arrow, who's a DC comic character. Obviously, we have lots of DC characters in MultiVersus already, so Green Arrow would fit in very nicely. However, he isn't among the rumored to be data mined or leaked fighters that we know about. While it's totally possible we don't know every character that's being worked on, and they could totally surprise us with a character we know nothing about and reveal Green Arrow tomorrow, let's see if any fighters that are actually on our list fit the archery theme as well. Well, looking at that list, obviously Legolas is the clear choice among these characters. He is a bow and arrow user and archery-themed fighter for sure if they were going to make him in MultiVersus. And we do know that 2 Lord of the Rings music tracks are in the rumored data mines for 2 Lord of the Rings stages, Hobbiton and Mordor. So Legolas could show up and bring a Lord of the Rings stage with him. Of course, supposedly data miners saw a lot more data for Gandalf in the code than they did for Legolas, suggesting that Gandalf was nearly finished and would probably release first. But the same could be said for Rick and Morty, and yet we're getting Morty first. There was a lot more stuff data miners supposedly saw in the code for Rick than they did for Morty, yet Morty's the first character we're getting. Huge Leaker actually, the original Reddit user who first leaked MultiVersus to us almost a year ago, claims that there may be some negotiation issues with Gandalf and Lord of the Rings stuff happening for MultiVersus because of the Tolkien estate. Hopefully Huge Leaker actually is wrong about that, as I really want Lord of the Rings characters to get into MultiVersus. Legolas or Gandalf would really make my day if they got revealed tomorrow. Also, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power premieres on September 2nd. We know Rick and Morty are coming to MultiVersus, and the Season 6 premiere of Rick and Morty starts on September 4th. The devs have mentioned wanting to use MultiVersus to, and I quote, be the platform to put your IP on if you want to get it relevant with a new audience. So having Rick and Morty and Lord of the Rings characters come out during Season 1 of MultiVersus to cross-promote their respective new shows that are currently going to be airing during Season 1 could actually make a lot of sense. However, I do think Legolas is rather on the nose, if Tony's tweet was really for him. I feel like if Tony was going to tease a character for us, he would probably be more subtle about it than just giving away the main attribute of the new character like that. Even without the rumored data mine stuff, Legolas comes to mind instantly when I think of potential archery-themed fighters that could show up in MultiVersus. Same goes for Green Arrow. Well, there is another character on the rumored data mine list of characters that could fit the bill, but is much less obvious at first glance. That character is Gizmo and Stripe from Gremlins. Gizmo and Stripe oddly share a spot on the rumored C0 list from the data mines, so no one is certain how this duo character will work exactly. Will they transform into each other? Is it like a swapping out mechanic, or some other odd mechanic we don't know about? But Gizmo and Stripe are not listed the same way that skins and variants would be for fighters, so it seems like some odd mechanic is going to have both of them as a single fighter somehow. They're also not listed the way Tom and Jerry are, so they're probably going to be something totally new. Anyway, they are among the very few unrevealed fighters whose names are on that C0 list, supposedly. And according to the rumored data mines, they do have a lot of work done on them already, with lots of voice lines and stuff showing up in the code, supposedly. And in Gremlins, Gizmo does use a bow with a flaming arrow. It's a pretty memorable scene from the film. It's basically a cute little Rambo reference. So I definitely think Gizmo would use that in his moveset if he got in MultiVersus. But Tony's tweet wouldn't give away this character immediately by simply mentioning a bow and arrow. In fact, most people probably wouldn't think of Gizmo from that statement. So if I had to guess, I'd say Gizmo is probably who Tony's tweet is potentially referring to here. Also, when someone commented with a picture of Gizmo on Tony's tweets about a bow and arrow user, the voice actor for Shagworthy in MultiVersus liked the comment. No idea if they know about Gizmo, but it's very possible they may have recorded lines referring to him, so maybe. Okay, well, really exciting stuff. If I had to guess who we might see tomorrow, my guesses would be on Marvin and Gizmo and Stripe. But it could be someone else, maybe not even someone I mentioned in this video, or even anyone that we are speculating about at all. And even if we do get Marvin or Gizmo, or even both of them revealed, more characters could happen on that login screen as well. We have no idea how many characters are going to be revealed tomorrow. So who knows for sure? Super exciting stuff. One other thing Tony said recently that I think is worth noting, he said KO effects doesn't prevent the character from becoming playable in the future. This tweet was in response to someone mentioning that Marceline was a ring out effect already, and wondering if she was still eligible to be a fighter. So good news for ring out characters, they don't deconfirm characters. I assumed as much, but good to hear confirmation from Tony, especially since Marceline or Porky Pig or some of the other ring out characters would be great characters to get as playable in MultiVersus. Alright, well that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Keep an eye on Tony and MultiVersus Twitter account and see if we get told the exact release timing for Season 1. I hope we do, as I want to stream my reaction to seeing that login screen for the first time. Speaking of streaming though, I am on tier 15 of the preseason battle pass right now, so I'm going to grind out the final few points I need to unlock Pajama Finn tonight as soon as I'm done editing and putting up this video. So feel free to watch me do that. And I'll see all of you tomorrow for some new MultiVersus character reveals. If you have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord, Twitch.